Mindy Yoder is back. How often, Mindy, do people, I know you don't do a lot of rec play. You are the coach in so many places, camps and clinics and resorts and private lessons. But if you're having, let's say, rec play, maybe you're playing with your husband, Doug, and some other really good players, and it's in an open setting, what happens when somebody just wants to join the party and says, "Oh, I like to play better people. I'll get better."
Yes, I do think it's a common thing that players say. I like to play with better players. I play better with better players, or it helps me get better. It's very common. And for me, you probably do play better with better players, mostly because better players hit the ball better. They don't get you into trouble as often. They're more controlled. There's not a lot of surprises or as many surprises as there might be at lower levels. So, yes, it's a more controlled environment. The play is just generally better. So, yes, I agree that people do play better with better players, but that's why. And the idea that I get better when I play with better players, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I think you can learn things from better players. So, yes, we all want to play with better players. That leaves us in a conundrum.
That's right.
Not everyone can be the lower player on the court. People have to be the higher player on the court. So, if you couple of things. First of all, no one is entitled to play on the advanced court. People
Right.
have a sense of entitlement that they should be able to play on the
Yes.
advanced court whenever
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah.
That's not true. So my first strategy as a player trying to get into a better court is, would there be an opportunity sometime this morning for me to play with you? Play with or against you? I would love an opportunity to play with or against you sometime this morning. Something like that. And then when you get the opportunity to play with them, it doesn't mean that they are now your eternal partner or that group is now your new group. It
Right.
means you play a game and you say, "Thank you so much for this opportunity. I welcome any feedback you have to my game," or say thank you and go off the court, instead of trying to be back in the paddle stack with them every time.
Yeah.
I think that graciousness will allow you to do that. Secondly, if you want to play with better players, then you need to allow players who are less than you to play with you. You need to
Hmm.
give back the other way
Right.
and be just as gracious as those other players were with you to let you in their games. So I think it's a give and a take.
Hmm.
Those are my You can tell maybe I'm feeling a little bit heated about this question because it does happen a lot. It causes what I would say kerfuffles. People get their feelings hurt. My daughter would say, "You get butt hurt." And I think it's not things that are benefiting the game. So be courteous and be willing to be on both sides of that coin.
I guess that I certainly, there's some smoke coming out of my ears at times too, because I'd forgotten about that thing of a group of people who often show up around the same time at the same public courts. I forgot the thing about people who are just not very good. And by the way, it's not like they're taking clinics or lessons. They just play the way they play. They're not really looking to be better or learn more, because if they were, it's not really up to other amateurs to teach you or to or to carry you through a game that you have now brought down to your level. So, yeah, there were people who were never going to be more than 3-0, just who they were, their age, their mobility, their skill set, and they would come pretty much stomping over to what were supposed to be the more competitive courts and go and actually say things like, "You think you're so much better than me?" It's not a question of thinking. These are facts, ma'am. But you don't say anything. You're just like, wow, that's kind of defensive, offensive. The other thing is in leagues, which is a mini tournament situation, right? Because the score counts. If they're ladder leagues, you move up and down. This is not an open rec play, it's something organized by a club, whether indoors or out. there's the problem of the person who is let into, let's say, a high intermediate league, and they're intermediate or low intermediate. So they say, I'm just here to learn. Meanwhile, whoever gets paired with them winds up not moving up the ladder because unless you're your level, it's really hard to carry somebody who's in the inappropriate skill set, right? And they say, I want to get better. And so they say, because you get better playing with better people, right? And my answer is, I actually think it's humiliating to be crushed. I'm not sure what you learned from that. And in the heat of the moment, how could you learn something? Pickleball is so rat a tat tat. You don't know that you learned anything. You survived a paddle battle, maybe, right? Or you had a little dink back and forth with somebody and you're like so happy you did that. Isn't there some of that, a misunderstanding that playing up is good for you without considering that it's not very good for the people that you're playing with? It's no pleasure for them.
Yeah, that's true. In the case of someone getting into a league or a ladder or something that is not the skill level, that's a management issue. That's a
Right.
management issue of
Yes.
that league, that ladder, whatever. That's
Yep.
not anything we as players can do anything about.
Right.
So that's something that to take to management.
Yep.
Um, I think there are some things to be learned from playing with better players, and I'm not the judge and jury of everyone's motive, why they're on the court. You're
Right.
right. Probably some people are not on the court to get better. They just want to play with better players. Again, I would say that's not a right, it's a privilege. And as an advanced player, I may be there prepping for a tournament. I may be
Right.
there for a variety of reasons. So my answer as an advanced player could be, you know what? Sometimes we do mixed play, but right now we're in a group as partners, or we're doing advanced play and drills here. That's okay to say as an advanced player. And it's also okay to say, sure, I'll play a game with you and play a game with them. And whether they learn or not, that's not my job as the advanced player to
Right.
teach them. So we play our game. It'll probably be pretty quick. That's fine. Move on. Move on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons why or why not people might want to come in, and I can't change other people's motives or those things. All I can do is manage myself.
So if this is advice for amateurs and you've got
Mhm.
people that are at the low intermediate or intermediate level, would you encourage them to just show up on a court that's above their skill level? Because usually there's not even, when there's a paddle rack, you don't even ask permission. You put your paddle
Mhm.
there, right? As a rule of thumb, as both a coach
Mhm.
and someone who plays, do you
Mhm.
think that those people are stepping, they're coloring outside the lines and they're not doing themselves or anybody else a favor? It's a selfish moment that isn't going to benefit them and could backfire in terms of other people's. People could get crabby or hostile or give you eye rolls or ugh, like that. And I don't think that anyone needs to feel that. That feels icky.
Yeah, true. I It depends on what the play is designed to be. If it's open play, it's open play. So if I'm an advanced player and I go to open play, it's potpourri day. I cannot say I cannot say you can't come onto this court.
Right,
I can't
right,
do it. It's open
right.
play.
Yeah,
If it's leveled play and it's a certain level, that's something different.
got it.
So you have to consider your environment. But if it's public courts, open play, that it is what it is. I can choose to sit out an extra round rather than play on that court. I could choose
Right.
some other things. I'm Again, I'm only in control of myself. I also want to lean into be a good human. What does that look
Yes.
like? Be a good
Yes.
human.
Yes.
When people are on the court, when people are around you, you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't
Definitely.
know, you
Hmm.
have no idea.
That's
So be a good human, whatever that looks like. So I don't know that there's a good black and white answer. I think
right.
as the lower level player coming on, I would like to encourage people to be gracious, to go at it with an attitude of humility and learning rather than this is my right. You make more friends. You make more
Yeah.
friends and it's more enjoyable for everyone. I've seen both happen on courts.
Yep.
I
I have too.
Yeah, seen both happen on courts, but
And as you say, everyone's got a personality. So if you
yeah,
have three personalities on a court and there's a space for a fourth person who is playing punching above their weight, I guess is one of the phrases, right? And they're just coming, and either they blithely don't even realize that they're invading a space that they really aren't a good puzzle piece fit for, or they want to do it because it's what they feel like doing right now. Maybe two of those people say, sure, play a game with us. And the fourth person's like, seriously? So then you have to deal with, oh, whose feelings are going to get hurt? Now this guy is going to pout, and this one's going to. There is a bit of that. Being a good human really does mean stepping outside of, as you say, you can only answer for yourself and deal with your own feelings and your own reactions, but you do have to step a little bit outside and think, what does that feel like to the other person? There have been
Yeah.
at the pickleball club I play at, it's very loose, the idea of who plays on what court. If the first court winds up being empty and there's four people with their paddles way up at five, we dash down to one. It's not like you can't play there if you happen to have a bunch of advanced people, but there have been people that weren't familiar with the kind of tier of it, which is loose and unspoken and unwritten. And they show up on court five. And I've said to somebody once, I think you're going to be more comfortable on one of the other courts. They really gave you a hard time. The person's had everything hit at them or at their feet, and they're just rattled. And she said, oh, thank you. How would she know? If you're new to the game, you figure we're all in this together. You don't really even understand that there's different skill levels. There's that
Sure.
too, right?
Sure.
So, all right. So playing up, just understand that you have to have humility, whether you're asking to be show up, or you're just showing up, or you're welcoming or not welcoming somebody in there. In every case, everyone has the right to be there, and they all have feelings. So diplomacy would go
Yeah.
a long way, right?
Yep. It does. It does.
So try and be your best human if there's a playing up and down issue, no matter which side of the coin you're on, because as Mindy said, it's a potpourri, and at some point the coin has to flip. Someone has to
Mhm.
play with the person who doesn't know you're supposed to let it bounce before you hit the return of serve. That you have to sometimes. It's just what happens.
Yeah. If you're on public courts and it's open play, that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's different than scheduling courts, reserving courts for a group.
right.
That's different. So if you're going to open play, it is that. It's open play. If there's specific rules, then someone's got to be there to monitor that.
That's right.
And if there's specific levels, or that's why clubs are going into rating players. And so these courts are for these rated players, these courts are for these rated players. Sometimes they'll do that, and then sometimes they have open play
Right.
times.
Yeah.
So I think the courts that are doing better have some system to what's going on.
Yes.
Part of that may be a little bit of organization or looseness with how things are being managed.
Yep.
But as a player on the court, it's not my job to manage all that.
No, and you don't want to be in that position of having to
Mm,
make nice for people that are angry or make nice for people whose feelings are hurt. And if you're kind of that fix it kind of person, it's hard not to feel you should step into the role, but it's a no-win situation. As you said, there needs to be a system that whether it's written or unwritten, that everybody goes along with. And if somebody new comes along, you go out of your way as politely and kindly as possible to explain it.
yes,
But
absolutely.
like in Vero Beach, you paid $10. It was a private public court. So the six courts on the left were for below whatever high intermediate level, and the ones on the right, big paddle rack, was if you were better. And the first time I showed up, I thought, I hope I'm okay to be over there. And it worked out okay, but you don't know in a new place. What if their idea of better is really better? And you're going to be the weak link, then you have to scuttle back down to the other course. You just have to feel your way, right?
Yep, for sure.
Thank you, Mindy Yoder. Really appreciate all you do for the sport.
You're welcome. My pleasure.